Well, let's talk about how my house is haunted. I really believe that there's something in here because there's so many like little weird things that happen. Not usually scary, but just like how did that happen? So I have a few dolls that are kind of creepy looking, and my sister hates me for keeping them in our room, but I love them because they're my dolls. So I have one standing on top of this like really big nightstand that I have, and so she's just sitting there along with some other little things like little knickknacks and stuff. And one day recently, she just fell to her side out of nowhere. We picked her up. We were terrified, and then later on that night, it was really scary because me and my sister, like, our lights were off. We were like ready to go to bed, but we weren't asleep. And I just heard something fall, and I was like, did you hear that? And she was like, yeah, what was it? And I'm like, I think you know what it was. I'm pretty sure it was the doll that fell again. We call this ghost Juan because um because um the TV, he always messes with the TV. Well, he used to. He doesn't do it anymore. But he would always just change the channel or change the language to Spanish. And it was really funny to us. So we called him like Juan because it was like stereotypical or whatever. But when I was maybe around 4 or 5, um, around the time where my siblings were born, um, I created an imaginary friend, kind of based off of um, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, because I watched it and I was like, I want an imaginary friend too. Her name was Siriana, I think, which, funny story, is actually supposed to sound like sirena, which is mermaid in Spanish. But my dad always tells me how I would always play with Siriana, and he would be completely freaked out by that, especially since when I was little, I would also say that I saw cacalacas, skeletons, and like skulls in my room at night in the dark. I would always be like, oh my god, I saw them. And my parents would be like, no. Like, there's hardly anything that's supernatural that you'll tell me about, and I completely will not believe it. Like, witches, yes. Ghosts, obviously. I probably had an imaginary friend that was a ghost too. Aliens, for sure. Mermaids, mermaids, I definitely believe in. Whether they're real now or they were real and became extinct. Why I still believe in it, I think it does have something to do with curiosity, and also, like we said, influences from like what I watched when I was little, like a lot of animated things. Studio Ghibli messes a lot with that, which I think is a big thing, and then some Disney movies too that just kind of like push the idea of like monsters and stuff. And then I read like the Percy Jackson books when I was like, I don't know, maybe 5th grade or something. So like all of these things just kept like coming to me. Up a lot in my art, like paintings and drawings. A lot of the times I'm stumped and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure what to draw, I'm not sure what to paint. Or like in high school, senior year, my teacher gave us, she told us that we should have like a theme, so we can create like a collection of paintings. And the theme that first came to my head was things that could quote unquote not happen. But so it's basically like things that a lot of people would be like, no, that's impossible. But when you really think about it, if you have like a mind like me, it's definitely possible that these things could happen. So that's one way that it comes up. And also there's one specific, I guess, storyline that I've had in the back of my head for ages now, literally like probably since 7th or 8th grade, that I've had this exact same storyline in the back of my head. I started writing it at one point. I never finished it, sadly. But it's this story about like fallen angels and what happens after death, and all of these supernatural things. So I would definitely love to like make horror. If I go into the film industry or even animation, whatever I go into, like I would love to do supernatural stuff like that and horror stuff like that.